Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Ethereum then. So I don't normally look at Ethereum, I haven't looked at it in a long time. The reason for that is that I felt like the majority of the move had been played. But given what's going on with Bitcoin, which is a bit of a sideways, maybe even accumulation zone, does lend itself to allowing for some altcoins, not all, some, because I say this all the time, not all altcoins are created equal, some altcoins with the stronger charts to perhaps maybe have runs, but they're all going to be vulnerable to a potential downside or a further downside or potential bear market, which isn't confirmed. I have to keep stressing this. There's no bear market yet. The bear market is not confirmed. There's a lot of other precursors to be ticked off the list for a bear market to be confirmed. But yeah, what I'm trying to put across is that some charts are stronger than others. No, they're not strong, I have to say, but they're stronger than Bitcoin, which does lend themselves to actually carrying on with uptrends if they can reclaim certain areas. Ethereum actually being one of them, and if we have a look at the way that the daily looks, yeah, we had a nice, and again, yeah, Ethereum has been bullish for a very long period of time, and it's been a very sustained one, and you could argue that this was the blow off top, really. If we have a look at the way that the money flow index hit that 94 read, you know me and my money flow index, I don't like anything at a 94 read, so we got that, essentially blew its top off really on the daily, and corrected quite dramatically, and since then it's bounced from this 200 exponential, which is a good sign, to the tune of 40, almost 45% more or less, to the price where we are at today. So what we're looking at and what we're waiting for and what we're hoping for is to reclaim some of these moving averages which are just above us. They're really not far away, and this could lead to actual further upside, significant upside, maybe even new all-time highs. I know that sounds ridiculous when we're thinking about Bitcoin being so, well, weak, really. Weak is what it is. But I'd say more along the lines of nondescript and boring, to be honest with you. But if we're looking at Ethereum, yeah, there's definitely more chance for downside here. We've got the center of the Bollinger Band. Basically, if you imagine a little arrow on this one saying this is where I'm going, that is where it's going, and we also have to accept that this is likely to be a resistance. But actually, if we broke above that moving average there, it might take a few days to confirm and for this to level out, go horizontal and shape up again. But that would be really bullish for Ethereum. And a lot of people, including myself, do entertain the idea that Ethereum could one day flip Bitcoin and its market cap, and that would be a massive deal for the overall market as a whole. And there's a lot going on for Ethereum. I suppose it is the biggest crypto outside of Bitcoin, and yeah, I mean it's pretty good for what it is. But I mean, we're looking at the chart and the chart alone, and if we're gonna really talk about it, we have to look at what the relationship is right now to moving averages, which again on the daily is. It's not strong, but it's stronger than Bitcoin, so that's basically what it is, and that's I suppose what we're referring to now when we're thinking about strength. We're looking at, the market is and has gone down significantly, but where is it going to go from here? And this isn't looking like Bitcoin at all. This is doing its own thing, and it's not far from going into a bullish uptrend. We only really need to move, it's more than that from the price that we are at this very second of making the video. We've got to move a 10% move to get to the center of that Bollinger Band, and anything above that would hopefully get us above there and close above there. Now this is, splitting hairs. I'm trying to spin it in a positive light, which is not the most responsible thing to do, because I'm not saying that this is going to go into an uptrend yet, but I'm saying it's definitely something to keep an eye on, and it could do something interesting over the next few maybe weeks, I would say, if we can reclaim that zone. Now obviously every day that goes by, this moving average, the center of this Bollinger Band, gets lower and lower and lower, and depending on where we are price wise, gives us more of an opportunity to break above it. But this is going to be a resistance until we've broken above it, so it could just knock us down further and further and further. So we do have to look at other indicators to suggest what it is that, where we're going to go from here. MACD snaking up, slowly leveling out, not yet bullish, but the histogram is ticking up, which is nice. We've also got quite a reasonable amount of momentum taking place on the RSI and on the money flow index. So you could say that maybe this one was the ultimate buying opportunity when we came down to here, especially seeing that we bounced from it so well and we've not come down to revisiting it, and we also haven't broken down below it, which is the opposite of what we can say for Bitcoin. Bitcoin broke down below it and we're still below it now. So it's a better chart overall than Bitcoin's. But the problem is that the market will follow Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin does confirm to be in a further downtrend, well, I mean, it is in a downtrend now, but a more significant one, basically going bear market, then it will break this chart down. It will break it, no problem. Whatever Ethereum wants to do, I would be very surprised if it moves in a counter way to Bitcoin in a downtrend, I'll be mind blown, to be honest. Doesn't mean that a chart like this can't bounce significantly. And if we do think about this in terms of coming down to that 200 exponential, that is a 26% drop to it, which again is a lot. It's a fair amount, but it's not massive. If you think about what it would mean if Bitcoin decided it wanted to go down further towards 20,000. This would break down below here, and at that point it would start to get mega bearish, and over time would retrace way more than Bitcoin. So you take it for what it's worth. The chart is okay in a way when you compare it to that of Bitcoin's, but it doesn't mean that it can't get significantly worse. So this is why I favor Bitcoin overall, because the risk to reward is obviously less on both sides. But this chart, is something to keep an eye on, and I wouldn't really think or entertain buying into it until we reclaim some of these zones. And it would be a traded chart for me. It would be a chart to trade. I'm not a massive fan of buying lots of Ethereum and holding on to Ethereum, like some kind of collection of smart trainers that never get worn. It's more of a trading chart, to be honest. It's not something that I potentially want to hold for its fundamental values. I've got other coins for that that I shove into the ledger. Ethereum's a better one, I suppose, to trade. And so for the moment, we wait and watch and we wait and see. It's not going to take much of a move to break above here, but it's a matter of closing above here and probably waiting for it to retest it and for this to level out horizontally before a retest and a move up. But I do like the way it is shaping up. If we go to the weekly, it's actually really good on the weeklies. It came down to the centre of the Bollinger Band, the 20 weekly, bounce, and so far so good. We do have a negative cross here on the MACD though, so this is what I'm saying when we're talking about risk to reward. We can look at the style of the chart. We can go, actually the chart looks okay, doesn't it? As far as its relationship to at least the Bollinger Band strategy. But potentially, if it breaks down, then it would get worse. It would get a lot worse, and so you stand to lose a lot more if the market breaks down. So you could look at this and go, well, actually, it's better than Bitcoin. But then you think, actually, it's going to follow Bitcoin, and if we do break down from here, think about how Bitcoin broke down from there. That from the center of that Bollinger Band all the way down to that level there was a 40% move. You would get that with Ethereum if we were to break down from here, and then if Bitcoin continues to go down even further, it would probably wreck this chart even more. So, like I say, it can be misleading, and this is what I've been saying to people on the Telegram and the Patreon, is that we can play the charts for what they're worth, and they can be played, they can be traded, but you've got to think about the overall picture, which is that Bitcoin is going to dominate the market, whether it's up or down. So if Bitcoin goes up, or even it just goes sideways, it will lend itself for some altcoins, including Ethereum, to probably make continued uptrends themselves, and maybe even go to make new all-time highs way before Bitcoin does. But you are exposing yourself to more risk, because it doesn't matter what this chart looks like right now, and there's a chart that's hidden deep behind this one called the Bitcoin chart, which actually looks like pretty awful, actually. In the grand scheme of things, it could potentially get a lot worse than it is right now. And so we look at this and it's misleading. We go, well, we're okay, we're above here, we're going to move up. But actually, behind this is a chart which is on the cliff edge. And so long as we're above this green 50 exponential on the weekly here on Bitcoin, it's okay. It's okay. And actually, historically, we have bounced from there more times than break down from there. So, and the bounces from here are very significant. So I am going to give it the benefit of the doubt, but like I say, I don't want this chart to potentially mislead you into thinking that actually everything is okay. We are going to move up from here. But on this chart alone, this is I suppose what I'm saying. On this chart alone, chart structure wise, it's actually okay. It's actually okay. This is the only thing that makes me wary, not weary, but I suppose they're two in the same. If you think about how this turned around so fast for Bitcoin on the weekly, we were all the way up and all the way up here, and we've come dramatically down after the cross. This sort of thing, it can happen to Ethereum. It can happen. I'm not saying that it will, I'm just saying it can, so you've got to bear that in mind. We still obviously have bearish divergence that might have played out. You could consider this to have played out, but remember what I'm saying. There's benefits to altcoins, which is more reward, but you expose yourself to more risk. And we are in a downtrend still. Nothing is uptrending yet on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is the overall leader of the market. So it's definitely time to I suppose, be a bit more conservative about how we play these charts, and maybe not to get too greedy. I'm not looking to play this chart yet, like I said, but soon there may be a decent opportunity to play it. Now, if we go to the 4-hourly, just for fun, you know, because this is what I do for fun now. I look at charts like this. On the 4-hourly, there is a glimmer of hope, which is that we just need to reclaim this 200 exponential, which is only a little bit further away from where we are right now. So again, with Ethereum, it's not going to take an enormous push up to suddenly suddenly confirm an uptrend. But we're not in one yet. But if we did start to see this 200 exponential reclaimed on the 4-hourly, I would be actually quite happy with that. Not just reclaiming it, retesting it as support, and then have our Chiku span from the Ichimoku cloud and get above this cloud, and obviously we're nice and green here. So there would be 3 levels of confirmation for another big push at that level. Couldn't tell you exactly how much, but it would be another big push, but definitely into the 3,000s, into the lower 3,000s probably, relatively quite soon, and then after that we'd get our golden cross, and we would actually be in a continued uptrend at that level. We're not there yet. Again, this is something that we need to keep our eyes on, but it is looking quite good, I have to say. And if Ethereum looks good, it does lend itself to the bigger picture of altcoins, because, you know, if Bitcoin just wants to go sideways, that's okay. If it does just go sideways and these charts start to recover off the back of Ethereum and on their own charts, we could be looking at another alt season. I know that's a really silly thing to say because the alts have been significantly wrecked, but it is true. It is true. These are some of the things that we look for in anticipation for, maybe not an alt season, but alt rallies, recovery rallies, relief rallies, decent rallies for alts, while Bitcoin is being boring and sideways, which it is generally going to do. So I'm all up for continuing to focus on Ethereum and see how these charts play out on the 4-hourly and on the daily. The weekly, like I said, is okay. It's only that MACD that offers any reasonable concern. So yeah, I'm okay with it right now, but again, it's not a chart to be traded right now. It would be a chart to monitor for its overall health, whether Bitcoin goes up or sideways. But if it goes down, then it writes off the entire thing. And this has always been the case with crypto. You can have the best setup in the world for an altcoin, and then Bitcoin turns around and says, no, not today, guys. I'm going down, and I'm going to take you all with me. So you just have to bear all of that in mind. But other than that, I thought I'd bring Ethereum to your attention. It is showing signs of not strength, but not as weak as Bitcoin. But there's no signals on here right now. But there is, like I say, very good potential for this to recover way faster than Bitcoin. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. But thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.